In this video, we're going to talk about one of the main tools that we're going to use in our circuits and programmable hardware unit, and that is the breadboard. What is a breadboard? A breadboard is a reusable platform for temporarily building circuits. So this is a great way for us to practice building circuits, prototype some things, and put circuits together temporarily in a way that the components will still transmit electricity and do what they're supposed to do, but it also in a way where we can reuse all of our components as long as we treat them well. How does a breadboard work? The electronical components have leads or little wires that are used to connect one to the other. We insert them into the holes that are arranged in the grid pattern in the surface of the breadboard. That is the top view. So we have all of these different holes that we can use. And the cool part is underneath this, as you can see in the cutaway view, little clips of metal not only hold them, but make the electrical connection. So we actually connect pieces by putting them in two different holes next to each other that are already connected by some of these metal strips in this cutaway view. Here's how they're connected, and this is an image I'm going to let sit so that everybody can kind of internalize this. So we have two, and actually our breadboards will have two rows. This one just has one. At the top, these are called buses. Okay, these are connected through the entire width. So all of these, and these you can see have the numbers here where they label, and they're actually labeling the rows, but we can use them to think about the buses too. Because they, as you can see, they kind of line up, well, at least at the beginning they did. But these will, oftentimes what we'll do is we'll bring power into these, and then this is how we'll use and connect power to other things. So anything in any of these holes in this whole row will be connected together. It's as if the wires are touching. So that's really important to know. We've also then got these columns, and these are where we're going to make a lot of our connections. So if I take a wire and I bring it right in here to A1, and then I connect that to a leg of a resistor that's in B1, the two are connected, okay? Because again, the metal strips underneath them are what connect them together. So again, the main part of the breadboard is in columns. The very top and bottom have buses that are in rows. Why do we use this? Number one, it takes a lot less time and a ton less money to design a circuit on a breadboard than to actually print a PCB or a printed circuit board. Okay, and that's in this image right here. This is a very final design. I'm sure that whoever designed this had breadboard versions of this that span many different times in order to get everything to work and to figure out exactly what connections need to be made first. Okay. As a complement to circuit simulation, breadboarding allows the designer to see how and if the actual circuit functions. This is what we're going to be doing a lot of too, is we're going to be playing around with different circuits and how to hook them up to make them do what we want them to do. Additionally, it gives you the ability to quickly change whatever you do. So if you mess up or make an incorrect connection, you can very quickly move the wires and the leads to make proper connections as you're doing testing and, most importantly, learning. Okay? It also allows you to swap out different resistors to make the LEDs, brighter or dimmer, whatever you're trying to control. It easily lets you modify a circuit to facilitate measuring current or voltage. So if we get into measuring things, okay, we can do a lot with breadboards to switch things in and out. Okay? Here are some general tips for using breadboards. Number one, you're going to want to use as few jumper wires as possible. Okay? That way you don't continually make things. So we want to be very efficient with our use of jumper wires because they can get very jumbled, especially as the second bullet point puts out. We want them to be as short as possible. We do have some long ones because sometimes we need to make some long connections, but we want to try to keep them short and sweet. That way our project doesn't turn into a complete mess. Okay? The other thing that really helps is later on we're going to start to use circuit diagrams that are also called a schematic. If you kind of set your breadboard up as close to the schematic as possible, it does make troubleshooting easier. because one of the biggest issues that students will have with breadboards is they'll think they made a connection, but when they look more closely at it, the two wires that were supposed to be in the same column will be one column apart. And that is our introduction to breadboards. This gives you the basic understanding of what they are used for and how they're worked and how they're designed, so that as we start to build our first circuits, they'll make a lot more sense.